Let's kick off here with what might be the weirdest and creepiest thing Joe Biden has ever stood up and said before a crowd. That's a pretty high bar, I grant you, but just have a listen to what the president said to a group of teachers yesterday when he recognized an old friend in the crowd.
Guess what? We got a lot to do. You gotta say hi to me. We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway, this woman helped me get an awful lot done. Anyway.
I'm sorry, what? Let's hear that again, just to be sure we all got that right.
Guess what? We got a lot to do. You gotta say hi to me. We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway. This woman helped me get an awful lot done. At any rate.
She was 12. I was 30. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. I'm not sure what the worst thing about that whole episode was. I mean, was it Joe Biden making a gag that would make most people think pedo? Which is a pretty dangerous area for any politician to head into. Not the least someone with his, shall we say, penchant for sniffing the hair of young girls, and whose own daughter is believed to have written a diary said to belong to her in which she talks about taking, quote, not appropriate showers with her father. Or maybe it was the fact that the audience laughed along with him when he made the crack. Remember, by the way, this was a group of teachers responsible for kids we're talking about here. Or perhaps it was that as the increasingly senescent 2-bit Nero made this speech, the ticker on the bottom of the screen recorded the U.S. share market plunging to a new low for 2022. Whatever the answer is, it is indeed creepy as hell. I mean, this is the guy who in 2019 had to issue a blanket apology to all the girls he'd sniffed before for his inappropriate physical contact and lack of respect for their space. An apology that was, by the way, quickly put on the record and then memory holed by the media, which was, of course, much more concerned with Donald Trump and his treatment of women. But Joe, nada. In the great tradition of Democrats dating back to Ted Kennedy and beyond, he got a pass. And of course, this is the same Joe Biden who back in 2014 was accused of swimming naked in front of female Secret Service agents, comprehensively grossing them out. I mean, I know Secret Service agents put their bodies on the line in the course of their duties, but surely seeing a naked, wrinkly Joe Biden's bits flapping in the breeze as he sails off the diving board goes well above and beyond the call. Not that Joe Biden, of course, doesn't have a bit of a history when it comes to swimming pools.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Oh.
Now you can, of course, only imagine the reaction by the press if a Republican, particularly one named Trump, had made what could have easily been interpreted as a scandalously poor taste joke implying that he was a pedophile or had to apologize for being too handsy with women or had gotten his kid off in front of women in his protective detail. To say nothing of if he had had a daughter who made such revelations in her diaries, which, as with the contents of the Hunter Biden laptop, everyone seems to have agreed to agree are perfectly genuine, but simply not to be discussed in polite company. Of course, this is not the only weird thing the president did this week. Have a look at him here, wandering off, dazed and confused, like a nursing home resident looking for the dessert cart after giving a speech to an outfit called the Global Fund in New York.
Mr. President, thank you. At the end of such a momentous event, the word thank you seems kind of inadequate. But for all the millions whose lives will be saved, for the communities where life will be transformed, thank you. So thank you, President Biden.
Can you imagine being the cameraman there? He won't stand still! And then there was the president seeming to undo America's policy of strategic ambiguity when it comes to Taiwan.
Would U.S. forces defend the island?
Yes, if in fact there was an unprecedented attack.
After our interview, a White House official told us U.S. policy has not changed.
It's not the first time he's done that, incidentally. This makes at least the fourth time his comments on Taiwan have had to be walked back on that issue by the White House, leading, of course, to the question, who's really in charge here? But one thing we haven't heard yet is what the White House has to say about Joe Biden's bizarre "she was 12, I was 30" comment. No, they're too busy defending the indefensible, like Joe Biden's performance regarding the economy. Remember those tanking stock market figures we saw a moment ago? Well, here's Karine Jean-Pierre, White House spokeswoman, on how things are going.
We are seeing, and I've said this before, you've heard this from Brian Deese, is a transition to a more steady and stable growth, and that's what we're currently seeing and in the process of moving the economy into.
Whatever you say, Karine. Frankly, defending Joe's bizarre joke would probably be easier than that.